Welcome students. Once again I am back with another very interesting topic in Python, and that is functions. But before starting with the actual topic, let me tell you the idea by which this concept came in Python programming. As you know that Python is an object oriented programming language, and every concept of it is somewhere related to your real life experiences. And same is the case with functions. So functions can be well understood with the help of some real life example. Okay, so have you ever given this thing a thought that why a novel, despite being about a single topic divided into scenes or acts or chapters? Yes, well, it is done so as to keep or retain readers' attention, or to make that novel more and more readable and interesting while reading. In the same way, large programs are generally avoided in programming because it is difficult to manage a single large list of instructions at a single time. Right? So, for this, what is done? A large program is broken up into smaller pieces so that handling those smaller pieces becomes easy. Let us take another example. Have you ever seen, yes, you must have seen a calculator, and you must have noticed that for every individual operation, a calculator has a separate button. Like for adding, it has plus button, for subtraction it has minus button, for multiplication it has multiplication button, and each button is assigned a particular task to perform in the calculator. Okay, and it is not so that all the work of the calculator or all the operations in the calculator are assigned to a single button. No, it is not done. Why? Because when you divide a big operation or a collection of operations into smaller parts, then it becomes easy for you to handle that device, as well as it is easy to rectify the mistakes, or you can say the fault diagnosis is easy and fault rectification is also easy in that case, right? So this is the reason why functions came in the world of programming. And these functions are not only available in Python, they are available in every language, every programming language like C, C++, in Java. So this is a concept which is important for every programming language to have. Right. So let us now see what a function is. Function is a subprogram that acts on data and often returns a value. See children, function is a subprogram, means it is not the complete program, it is just a part of the program, right? And that particular part of the program has a particular task to perform, just like in calculator plus has a particular task to perform, and that is to add, right? So in our programs also, when we make functions, we divide the work of the program into small modules and assign a particular task to each module, right? And then every time we use that particular module, it performs the same basic operation with whatever input you give, right? So this is what is called a function. And what does this mean? Often returns a value. When you add something, you give input and the result is given back to you, right? So in the same way, most of the time when you make a function, it gives you a result, and sometimes it does not. We'll discuss it with some examples. Let us take example of print function, which you must have used till now. What happens in case of print function? Children, print function is a function which, whenever given some value, it simply prints the value on the screen. It does not give you any result. Like if I write, suppose in the interactive mode I write print help. So what will happen? It will simply print hello on the output screen, but it will not return anything. So print is a function which is ready made, or you can say a function which is given to you by the Python library, right? So this function is not returning you any result, but in this but if I take another example, say len function. Len function is used to calculate the length of any variable uh, in terms of bytes. And what happens? Suppose you give it a string. So what happens? It calculates the length of the string in terms of bytes and returns you the length. Right? So if I give a string to it, suppose I give hello. So this time what answer will I get? I will get 5. And here you can see that len function is working upon this data and returning you the result. And this justifies the definition of function, that it is a part of a program which acts on data and often returns you a value. So it is not mandatory that a function returns a result, but it can and it may not. Right? So this is the basic idea or the reason why we use functions within programming. Right? So now let us see what are the advantages of using function in programming. Next we discuss the advantages of using functions in any program. First is enhances program readability. Obviously, you know that, like I gave example, that when you read a novel and you find novel divided into scenes or acts, you find it interesting while reading, right? In the same way, when a program is divided into small modules, then it becomes easy and interesting for you to monitor that program, right? So program readability gets enhanced when you use functions. For example, you must have made program of means program which works like a calculator. So you must have performed addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, floor division and all, right? Now you must have also seen the length of that program when you did not make use of function. Okay, now if you perform the same program with the help of functions, you will see that program readability increases as well as program size also decreases, because you are able to use same piece of code as many times as you want without needing to rewrite it every time. Now suppose in a program you want to perform the work of addition multiple times, right? So every time you will have to write the expression within which you add, right? But if in this case you make a function for addition, you can simply make a call to that function every time you need to add. This is a very simple example, and you will see, you will say that addition is a very small operation, why should I make a function for this? Let us take example of a series in which you need to calculate factorial multiple times, factorial of a number multiple times. And now the code of factorial, finding factorial is not very huge, but it is not very small also, because it involves the use of a loop, right? So if in that series you need to calculate factorial again and again, right? So what will happen? You will have to write the code of factorial again as many times as you want. But in this case, if you make a function that simply takes a number and gives you and calculates the factorial and returns you the result, in that case you will have to write the code of finding factorial of a number only once, and you can call it as many times as you want, right? So code reusability is provided by the use of functions without having to write it again and again. Clear? Then code sharing becomes possible. Yes, you can share a piece of code as many times as you want. Then program testing becomes easy. Yes, what does this point mean? This point means that if there is a big list of instructions and you happen to make a mistake in it, what happens? All the related statements after that, which are related to that particular statement in which you have committed mistake, will also be affected. Okay, and then you will have to correct all the, or you will have to rectify all the statements separately, individually, right? But if you make a function and you happen to make and you have called that function multiple times in your program, and suppose you happen to make mistake in the working of that function. Okay, so when you find that there is a mistake in the code, then you will only have to rectify the problem within that function. And as soon as you rectify it, all the statements, remaining statements which were dependent on that function will automatically get rectified. So program testing and rectifying the mistakes, both of these things become easy. Then program development becomes easy and fast. Yes, because when you are working on a large project, what you can do, you can divide your large project into small modules and then hand over modules to the members of the group, and each module will be concerned about, means each member will be concerned about the working of only that particular module which is assigned to him. And at the end you can combine the results of each of the members, and then the entire software will be developed, right? So these are certain advantages of functions.